Question: have you ever had a significant other, a boss, a parent make a decision for you that would determine your future? Maybe even a coworker, in my case, former group members, record executives, management, and attorneys. Many of you know that's what happened to me, but you may not know that it also happened to Rona Bennett, who was also in my former group. And it was just as ugly, just as cutthroat, in some ways actually worse. You be the judge, you tell me.
Now it's time for a breakdown. A breakdown.
Whoa! Trouble here. Trouble! Hey y'all, what's good, family? How are you? Welcome to episode 10. Thank you so much for being here. Y'all, I debated about whether to talk about this or not for the longest time. That's why it's taken me so long. It happened in November. Some of you may already know what I'm getting ready to talk about, but yeah. And I was like, should I not? But I keep getting asked about it. And I have an opinion just like everybody else, and I have the right to talk about it. Because I have firsthand inside experience on how Cindy, Terry, and Maxine do things. Yeah, how those dictators run their little clique. I also feel like when people are bullies, they need to be called out. So that is what I'm doing today. I want to start this out with another quote that says, "Karma is a very patient gangster." And I love her. Some of you may or may not know Rona Bennett was part of En Vogue for a while. After I was kicked out of the group, out of En Vogue, Cindy, Terry, and Maxine got another member named Rona. Oops, okay, so actually, when they kicked me out of the group, they got Amanda. Amanda was there before Rona. Amanda was only there for about 2 or 3 years, enough to record a Christmas album with them, and then they got Rona. And yeah, there's so many ins and outs. Like I said, the turnover is crazy, but yeah, Amanda first, then Rona. And I think she was a replacement for me or a replacement for Maxine. I can't remember because they do so many kicking outs and getting members in that it's hard to tell with them. But Rona's been there with the group for 22 years, and just in November, she was ostracized from the group after 22 years. 22 years with anything is a lot to be kicked out of and discarded. So I am here to talk about that. Most of us have been at a job or had a partnership with someone, or you're planning something with your family and they take your ideas and just run with them, and leave you out of it. And so that is what this is about. I feel for Rona because it wasn't fair. How it was done was nasty. Some people are going to be like, oh, you didn't even want Rona in the group, and that's not true at all. I'm going to say it again. What I said was, since we're doing our 20-year anniversary reunion, I didn't want her to be a part of something that she hadn't been a part of from the beginning. So she wasn't there to record Born to Sing. She shouldn't be there to celebrate that with us. They ostracized me so quickly that I didn't have a chance to enjoy the fruits of my labor with the group. I never got to an anniversary. So at that point, I just wanted to celebrate what I helped build way before Rona ever came into the group. So I just wanted that opportunity without her there. And it's funny, Alicia Keys made the same request. She wanted the 4 original members when we performed with her for the BET Awards. And the girls were okay with that. They complied with what she wanted. Same thing with Sylvia Rhone. Come 2020 or 2019, we did some Cancer Society thing for her friend, and she said she wanted the 4 originals. And again, they complied with that, or they were going to. When I said no, they brought Rona in. And then when I called them the next day and I said, you know what, I changed my mind because Maxine convinced me that it's a good look for us. Her and I were doing the Funky Divas project, and Max was like, please don't. So I called their manager the next day, and he said, okay, but if you don't mind, if it's all right, Rona is going to be a part of this. I was like, of course, Rona's there. Yeah, no problem. So I was never an enemy with Rona, and y'all know that. So don't try to come for me in the comments and making some mess about me and Rona, because it was never that. I always said, Rona's very kind, she's very nice, never rude to me, and I was never rude to her either. But what I did want was for us to celebrate what we created together before Rona came along. And in 2019, we were talking about the 20-year anniversary. And it was Cindy and I going across the table with each other about the fact that Rona should or should not be there. I was saying no, because Rona didn't, like I said, she didn't record Born to Sing with us. And Cindy was, but she's given us 13 years and you were only with us for 8 years. And I said, and? In other words, I understand that and I respect that she gave you 13 years. I would have done the same had I not been kicked out of the group. But my main gripe with that was, she gave 13 years, but I gave big hits. And I was forced out of a situation that was not fair to me. God presented Denny and Tommy with an opportunity to put together a girl group. And I went into that audition and I stood there nervous, uncertain, intimidated. But I sang my ass off. Nobody gave me that audition. Nobody gave me that position. I fought for it. And how dare they take it from me? And then I said, when the time comes to celebrate the Electric Cafe album, am I going to be a part of that, Cindy? And she said, no. And I said, why not? And she said, because you weren't there. I said, exactly. Rona wasn't there for Born to Sing. So why should she be there to, so. It's amazing how the tables turn. Cindy fought so hard in the meeting that day to keep Rona. And now all of a sudden they kick her out, like it's okay to just do it. And the way they did it, it's just, again, it's so nasty. I just wanted a few months to celebrate with our fans, and Rona was free to come back with us all together. But the way they did this, it's unspeakable. Anyway, that's all it was. Other than that, we had a good time around each other and would laugh, and Rona's a lot of fun. So what I'd like to do is read, I wrote down the letter. Rona gave it, she did a statement, or a letter, she called it. Talking to the girls and really to the fans about what happened. And then they in turn had to, because they weren't going to say anything. But because she put that statement out, they had to do the same thing and do some petty ass, dismissive ass, cold ass letter. It's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. Like it's embarrassing. They should be embarrassed about what they said to her. The lack of care. But anyway, let me read Rona's first. I'm going to read Rona's letter that I rewrote because I had to write it bigger than her letter was small type, of course. So I rewrote it so it's bigger for me to read. You guys, I'm going to talk in between about a few points that are made so that I don't forget and then have to come back later. So if you don't mind, I'm going to stop and start with the letters. Rona's letter says, there comes a time in every artist's journey when the path changes, sometimes without full clarity, but always with purpose. Over the years, I've done deep work to develop my voice, not just musically, but personally and spiritually. I've learned that honoring my values, creative expression, and truth must come before anything else. I'm normally pretty private, but many of you have reached out to ask why I wasn't at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame performance. I was approved during the summer to facilitate my own event happening concurrently on November 8th. However, I was not informed about the Hall of Fame performance and discovered it at the same time as the public. If that isn't cold-blooded and evil and mean and nasty, she wasn't informed. They discard people like hand wipes. You're necessary to do the job when their hands are messy, but then they just discard you and throw you away. And that's okay for a hand wipe. That is not okay for a human being. Someone who has, like I said, been around and been down in the trenches to support and, whatever they needed her to be. What's treacherous is that they didn't have the common decency to say, you know what, Rona, this is not working. I know that confrontation is not easy, but they owe her that. Do the uncomfortable thing and say what's real. And if she cries and it hurts or whatever, you guys should be really crying together because she's your sister. Remember that. Then again, have they ever cared about anyone's needs but their own? Never. Not one bit. You guys, she wasn't even informed. You did 22 years with someone. It's like being at a job and your job just lets you go and doesn't tell you why. Doesn't give you a heads up. Doesn't even allow you to, make some arrangements. You're out of here. Oh my God. That's below the belt, y'all. That's below the belt. These bitches are something else. Yes, I said bitches. I was uninformed about the Hall of Fame performance and discovered it at the same time as the public. Ooh, that's dirty. Oh my God, that's so dirty. It could have been nice to attend had I been given the opportunity to adjust my schedule. Come on now. Oh my God, you guys. Now keep in mind, this is not a record label telling them what to do, or, you know what I mean, management even forcing them to get rid of Rona. This was their decision. They brought her in, and this is how they treat her. And of course, like I said, they treated me the same way. But in my case, the label and their handlers around us influenced that decision. But Cindy, Terry, and Maxine didn't have my back, nor did they protest or even talk to the record company on my behalf. If there's anything that Cindy and Terry have to pay for, they got to start with me first. So get in line, Rona. I'm sorry, get in line, but they're going to pay for you. They're going to pay for me. They're going to pay for Amanda. They're going to pay for this. This is so dirty. Given the opportunity to adjust my schedule. Stepping into my new season of growth can be uncomfortable, but I'm going to keep going. And then she goes on to say that she's grateful for the years of connection to En Vogue across the globe. They've done a lot of great things. She's moving forward. She's uncertain, but she's excited. This is a new chapter. It's not a loss. It's evolution. I like that, Rona. It was good. It's not a loss. It's evolution. God bless her next frontier. She has a single coming out for Christmas. I hope that went really well for you. I hope it did really, really good. I'm not sure what happened, but I hope it did good for her. Yeah, so anyway, they discarded her. I was like, you bitches. So, this is their letter, y'all. When I say they could have kept this, they didn't have to do any of this. It was so bad. It is so bad. They could have just kept it to themselves. 22 years and this is what she means to you. Wow. They would have done better to not say anything at all. Like the old saying goes, if you don't have nothing nice to say, then keep your mouth shut. If the person that you're talking to isn't worth the time that they gave you, if you don't love them enough to say you matter enough for us to at least do a video or give better words than this. Let me read it and you guys tell me. Well, I already read some of the comments on some of them, but now that I'm doing this, you come in my comments and tell me what you think. And I don't mean the haters, because you're going to get chewed up and spit out like normal. I'm not playing. You guys, like I said, I'm going to talk in between, because this right here is it's so bad. Okay. Okay, y'all, so I'm posting the letter here so you can read it for yourself. Stop, pause it, and read this pathetic letter for yourself. Like I said, it's trifling. It's tired. But as I read it, you can read along with me. They should have said a whole lot more than this. Sometimes we don't know the right words to say. I understand that. But if that was the case, then their manager should have hired a publicist to put something together that was poignant and from the heart. And if they hired a publicist, and this is what their publicist did, then they need to get their money back. You guys, it's 3 people. You couldn't figure out something better to say to Rona? Come on. Out of due respect for our sisters, Salt and Pepper. It's not that they're not our sisters, you guys, but Rona was a sister too. And all of a sudden, now they say Sister Salt and Pepper. In their induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, we chose to refrain from addressing Rona Bennett's departure from En Vogue until now. First of all, what does Salt and Pepper being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, while it's amazing and I commend them too, I'm so happy for them, but what does that have to do with Rona leaving? Correction, Rona was forced out of the group, just like I was. She didn't leave. She was forced out. Rona was forced out of the group. What does their induction have to do with that? There were 2 separate situations. 2 different things. You should have respected Rona first, because Rona gave 22 years. Oh boy. So Rona Bennett's departure. We are proud of En Vogue's legacy. What legacy is that exactly? Kicking members out? Turning your back on people? Making them feel like they did something wrong when it was really you guys? Not taking accountability? What legacy is that? We are proud of En Vogue's legacy, and for over 35 years have been committed to maintaining an open door culture for members to pursue their individual aspirations. Bullshit. because they didn't respect my aspirations at all. It was just, Dawn, you're out of here. Bye. That's what it was. But they respect. Come on, y'all. Bullshitting. I'm calling you out. I don't give a fuck if you don't like it. As a group, we have the utmost respect for Rona's talents and have consistently supported her personal endeavors throughout the past 20 years. It's so cold. The reason that I say it's cold or they're cold is because, as usual, they don't give a reason as to why they're letting Rona go. You know, they always kick people out, but they never say the reason why. You know, they could have said we had irreconcilable differences. We couldn't get along. We had differences of opinion. It just wasn't working anymore. Like nothing. They say nothing. It's awfully telling that it's these three that are always kicking people out, and really Cindy and Terry. Y'all didn't address anything that has to do with Rona. Like, it's just so cold. And then they go on to say, check this out, y'all. They said, looking ahead, straight from there, we respect her. Looking ahead to 2026. Like, what? Just like, out, bye. Looking ahead to 2026. I mean, where's the, like, we're sorry that things ended up this way. We're sorry that this had to happen. We're sorry to see you go. You know what I mean? We wish things could have worked out differently. Nothing. No heart whatsoever. With founding member, all of a sudden, Maxine's founding member. With founding member Maxine Jones, who returned earlier this year with no announcement. Just, she's there. She's back. People are like, oh, okay. Well, if Maxine's back, does that mean that Dawn? No, hell no. Nope. Sorry, y'all. No, I am not. Oh, my God. You see how they treated all of us. I say them, but all of us. You think that I'm going to go back to being treated like this again? It's a matter of time before they're like, okay, we got somebody else who returned earlier this year. And we are extremely blessed to celebrate two major milestones. The 30th anniversary of the EV3 debut, which I was on, and they acted like I wasn't a part of at all. But my voice is all over it. And of course, they're not reaching out to me. I'm all over the album, but they haven't reached out at all. I wouldn't go back if they did, because I don't dig. I'm so over it. I'm over it for a few reasons, but I'll tell you that in a minute. And the 25th year anniversary of the Masterpiece Theater album. We thank the fans for their support, blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. You know, I may have said this already, but I'm going to say it again. They are bullies. And they say who can and can't stay. You're off the team. But coach said that I can be, nope, you're off the team. Like, it's just like that with them, you know. They do it like that. They are evil. You cannot push someone out of something like, well, yes, they did it. I'm not surprised. I'm just not. I'm not surprised at all. It's how they do everything. So good luck finding good karma from this, y'all. If you think you're going to have a good life from treating people wrong, life has a way of balancing itself. And the way you treated her and the way you treated me and the way you treated Amanda, y'all are bullies. That's how bullies do things, you know? Just no kind of respect, totally discarded, ugly. Every one of us started out with something or some people, or we had an idea for something and the family kicked us out of it, or our jobs kicked us out of it and never gave us a chance to kind of like get ourselves together. And you just feel put out and pushed out, and you're the last to know, because that's what happened with Rona. She was the last to know. She found out, like she said, when the fans found out. I didn't find out with the fans. I found out in the room with the girls, but the way that it happened didn't give me room to breathe, didn't give me room to talk about it. They didn't give me a reason. It was just, you're out. And like I said, Terry had done a solo album, and here I was getting ready to start mine. Terry had tour support, she had video support and all this. And they kicked me out for doing the same exact thing Terry did, and I didn't even get as far as her. I had recorded, 2 or 3 songs, and she had finished her whole album. Proof is in the photo. This is Cindy, Maxine, and I supporting Terry's launching of her tour for her solo album. She did a show at the Pantages Theater here in Los Angeles and Hollywood, and we were there to support her. 3 months later, Sylvia asked me to do a solo album, and I got 3 songs in. Like I said, she pulled me out of the studio because she said she wanted to get started with an En Vogue album, and I said, you did Terry's album, and now you're pulling me out of the studio? That's not fair, so... And I revoked my solo rights from the record company, and Sylvia didn't like that. And like I said, because I stood up for myself and defied Sylvia, these 3 stood behind her, and they all decided to kick me out for doing the same exact thing Terry did first. What was also disgusting, y'all, is that I had finished the whole EV3, or what became the EV3 album. My voice is all over it. And this is before I did my solo anything, so I was still in the studio recording and complying with my contract that I had with En Vogue. Nothing that I did on my own interfered with the work that I had with En Vogue. En Vogue was my priority, and Sylvia knew that, and so did the girls. They had no right to kick me out, force me out, but that is their modus operandi. That's how they get down. So, Rona, I know what you're feeling. I know what you're going through. I don't know personally what happened, but I can just imagine you're going through a plethora of emotions. And to the fans, I will say the same thing. When you go through that and you know it's wrongful termination or it's wrongful ostracization, if that's a word, and you've been put out or kicked out of a situation, your heart is broken. Because even though it's a job, or just a project, or in my case, a job. Woo, I gotta correct myself. No, it was not just a job for me. I auditioned for a group, and I helped, along with Cindy, Terry, and Maxine, to build a global brand. Thank you. You know, in Rona's case, a job. We're still kicked out of it, and it hurts. There's nothing worse than being ostracized, being the last to know, the last to find out anything, you know, so... Rona, I've been there. I can write the script. I can write the book because I've been there and I know the feeling. Amanda, I know you're happy to not be a part of it, especially after seeing this right now. It's a fucking mess. And Vogue can't keep a member to save their lives. It's ridiculous. And then you go back and get somebody that you kicked out and sued. Maxine. I'm gonna leave her to it. You obviously like abuse. Rona, I'm so sorry. My hat's off to you for 22 years that you gave to a group that did not appreciate you the way they should have. They talked a big game like they did, but they really, in the end, did not respect you. I've been there. I wasn't there for 22 years. No, I gave 8 years. I gave many hits, and I gave my time, and I helped build a group that has a legacy to this day because of my input. You know, what I gave to that group, the fans have not let me forget. So I'm grateful. And the fans will not forget you either, Rona. The way you were discarded and disrespected by Cindy, Terry, and Maxine was absolutely unforgivable. The way they did me was wrong. It was bad. But the way they did you, diabolical. Karma is slow and calculating. She may take a while. She may take many, many years. But when I say karma is a patient gangster, she waits. She allows you to put the noose around your own neck and hang yourself. You're stronger than you think. God will have his way. Don't think the universe didn't see what they did to you. You can't treat people like shit and think you got away with it. Rona, hold your head up high. What I love about your situation that's different than mine is that you have so much support. You have your family, your sisters, your sorority sisters, I think, are out there talking on your behalf. And I think your real sister too, I'm not sure. But you got a lot of people that are in your corner and they're speaking up on your behalf. I don't know if you have an NDA and you can't talk about it. If I were you, I wouldn't have signed it. I wouldn't have signed nothing. Because this is your experience. They put you through something traumatic. They put you through trauma after 22 years. You have the right to talk about what happened to you and speak your truth, which in turn may help someone speak their truth, you know? Because the way they did you was just wrong. So I wish you the best. And you also, oh, that's what I was going to say too. You have your husband. So you have that support, you know, to lift you up and hold you, you know. So bless your heart. You're going to do well. You always do. I mean, you were an entrepreneur when it came to your solo stuff. You would do stuff all the time. Your life coaching business, your book. I think you had a book that came out while you were in Vogue. You had 2 albums that you did. Like, you're an entrepreneur. You landed on your feet and you're going to stay there. So, yeah, do your thing. Don't pay no mind to this broke down. Somebody asked me they keep asking me, are you going to go back? There's room for you now. I'm like, you guys would rather me go back to that group just to say that I'm back and in vogue? I'm not putting myself back in a situation where I get kicked out again. First, I don't like the way they treated me the first and second time. I don't like the way they treated Amanda. I don't like the way they treated Maxine, although she seems to be okay with it again. Who does that? And I don't like the way they treated Rona. I'll be damned if I'm going to go back to be treated like that again. If my memory serves me, and it does, years ago when Maxine was sued by Cindy and Terry, she said in an interview that she would never work with those, quote, skanks, unquote, again. Those were her words. So now it's just funny to see how she has come back yet again to work with those skanks. Birds of a feather really do flock together. My old attorney used to say, desperate people do dumb things. Yeah. And someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time, and I wish that I'd have done that. And I went back every time they called me because I was thinking, okay, well, shit, I helped build this thing. I helped build this brand. I'm going back because I know there's money to be made, and it never turned out that way. And so, hell yeah, I went back every time, but no, I would never go back to this. And you guys shouldn't want me to. Trust that karma. She's handling things better than we ever could. So, don't think that people get away with stuff, because they don't. They never do. Their karma may be that they're living in hell. Nothing is going right in their lives. They can't sleep because they know what they did to you was wrong. Whenever you think that somebody's got away with it, it's like justice was not served. Trust me when I say universe sees all. God will not let a day go by that karma is not being served to that person. You may not see it, but they know it. They feel it. They feel it. God does things so much better than we ever could. Hold on. Hold on, for real. Rona, one last thing. Don't allow their behavior, their nasty, treacherous, unspeakable behavior, take away the love and the trust that you have for people. They did something nasty. That doesn't mean that all people are like them. There are very good people in the world, and I know you know that, but sometimes when our trust is broken, we tend to put everyone in the same bubble, like I can't trust anybody and there's nobody good in the world, but that's not true. There's very good people in the world. And you're gonna heal from this, just like I am. I pay homage to you. And I wish you the best, the very best. Good luck with everything in your life, Rona. And you also have your spiritual team. God is not gonna let you down. You're not alone. All right. Mwah. Please subscribe. I never say that, y'all. You guys are subscribing anyway, so I really don't feel like I need to say that, but I hear it so much in the other videos that I watch that I'm saying it today. So please do that. Thank you again for being with me. I'm so glad to have you. I'm so glad you love me enough to be here. There's a lot you could be doing right now, okay? So with all the social media we have today, I just thank you for your time. I really do. I appreciate you. I'll see you on episode 11.
Crush on Dawn from En Vogue. Crush on Dawn from En Vogue. Used to have a crush on Dawn from En Vogue. Used to have a crush on Dawn from En Vogue. Used to have a crush on Dawn from En Vogue.